Hello everyone, my name is Keely. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before, and welcome to the start of my vlog reading extreme horror for the first time. I am so excited about this vlog, probably the most excited I've been for any of my videos. I don't know what that says about me personally, but I just feel like I'm gonna love extreme horror, which again, don't know what that says about me. I am one of those people, I don't typically have triggers, so reading this stuff doesn't trigger me in any way. But if you are interested in any of these books, please, please, please check trigger warnings beforehand, because I know they're gonna get dark and I know they're gonna get gruesome. So when I decided that I wanted to film this vlog, I was like, what books should I read for my first time dipping into this genre? So of course, I turned to the queen of extreme horror, Hailey Hughes. I messaged her on Instagram and she was so kind and messaged me back, and I was like, Hailey, I'm gonna be reading extreme horror for the first time. What should I pick up first? So in this vlog, I am going to be reading 3 different extreme horror books. These are all recommended by Hailey. I'm so excited. I really hope I love them. So the first book that I'm gonna pick up is The Girl Next Door by Jack Ketchum. And I'm picking this one up first because Hailey said it's like the OG extreme horror book. Stephen King blurbed this and I've heard gruesome things about it. A lot of people are like absolutely disgusted when they read this. So I'm definitely picking this one up first. The next one, I don't know which order I'm going to read the next two, but the next one is For the Sake of by Judith Sonnet. Now, Hailey raves about this book. I don't really know what any of these books are about yet, and I don't know how much detail I'm going to be able to tell you because they're going to be crazy and dark, so I don't want to get like in trouble. But yes, For the Sake of by Judith Sonnet, this cover, okay. And then the last one is Night of the Prowler by John Athan. So Hailey has also talked about this author a lot on her channel. He has so many different books on Kindle Unlimited, but this is the one that I'm going to be picking up first. So For the Sake of and Night of the Prowler I got from Kindle Unlimited, and The Girl Next Door is from Prime Reading. It was like free under Amazon Prime, and I was like, yes please. There is one book that I really wanted to read for this, and that is Survivor by J.F. Gonzalez, but it's like not available anywhere. I cannot find it, and for years I've been wanting to read that one, but I guess I'm just too late because can't find it anywhere. But yes, those are the 3 that I'm going to be picking up for this video. I'm so excited. Let me know if you've ever read extreme horror, if you are interested in it. But yeah, today I'm going to start The Girl Next Door, and I will come back at you with an update later on. Okay, I am now 50% of the way through The Girl Next Door, and I'm gonna be honest, it feels a little weird talking about this book while wearing a bright yellow shirt that's all sunshine and rainbows. But I have thoughts. First, let me tell you what this book is about. So we follow this boy named David, and he lives next door to Ruth and her family, and Ruth has like several boys. And one day moves in Susan and Meg, and Susan and Meg are like their second cousins, like kind of distant family members, because Susan and Meg lost their parents and they had nowhere to go, so now they live with Ruth and the boys. David is friends with the boys, and over time we slowly start to see Ruth kind of spiral. She starts losing her temper, specifically at the girls, and we kind of start seeing her become more abusive in verbal words and physical, and then things escalate from there. So that's all I'm going to say on that. This is weird to read. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about it. It is interesting because normally you can be like, okay, I can see one character acting this way, but in this book, there are several characters that are being horrible and abusive, and so it's just like, is this small town just filled with psychopaths? Like, I don't understand. And then the character we are following, David, being in his head is so disorienting, because one second he's like, oh, I feel bad, and the next second he's like angry because these children, these little girls, are powerless, and he's angry at them because they're powerless. What? So being in David's head is not great, because I am so angry at him. I'm just like, step up and do something. But also seeing all these other little boys, I'm like, I have 2 brothers and they never acted like this. Like, things are just strange. Things are weird. Also, the fact that there's so many characters in this book was hard for me to like figure out who was who. And like there's so many names because Ruth, I'm pretty sure there's 3 boys. And then you have the 2 girls and then you have David. And then they also have like other friends that they keep mentioning. And so it's like all these names are thrown in there. So the first 25% of this was really slow and just kind of boring because we're trying to figure out who's who and nothing's really happening. And then bam, 30%, you start seeing some darkness come in, and then head on 40%, things are going crazy. Things get involved, people are losing their minds. I'm losing my mind reading this. And I will say I am also buddy reading this with Michelle from Michelle's Library. I love her, and we are doing Realmathon, and we are both on Team Sanctum. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be my first book in April. And she was like, oh, let's buddy read. So yes, it's fun buddy reading this book with somebody because you get to talk through the darkness of this book and not feel so strange reading a book like this. Like, it's nice to know other people are out there reading these books. I was working at the high school and one of my students was like, oh, look at this romance book that I'm interested in. And I was just thinking, please don't ask me what I'm reading. Please don't ask me what I'm reading because I cannot tell you. But yeah, I also know, I'm pretty sure that this book is based on a true case. And so I definitely will look that up when I'm finished reading the book. And I don't know the whole story surrounding that, if like the author like was close to this case, or if he even has like the rights to tell someone else's story, like what all that's about. I haven't looked into that. But yeah, it's definitely dark, and I just know it's gonna keep getting worse and worse. I feel like we've only skimmed the surface and it's already so like gruesome. I also just don't understand how somebody can like legally write these things on page. Like, if I knew somebody that was writing these things, I'd be like, we need to check into you because something's wrong. But yeah, I'm not hating it, but I cannot say that I enjoy a book like this, because what does that say about me if I do? But I'm not hating it, and it reads really fast after like the first 25%. I mean, the boring part still read fast, but yeah, it's reading fast, 50% of the way through. The book says I have like an hour and a half left, so I will be finishing it today. So I guess I will update you when I'm finished. I'm kind of scared what's gonna happen because I just know it's gonna get so much worse. Okay, I just finished The Girl Next Door. And I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. Like, how does one feel when reading a book like this? Because I didn't hate it, but I also don't feel like this is a book that you can just be like, I love this. But I also didn't love it. I just feel kind of like drained after reading it. And it's interesting because, like I said at the beginning, I don't have triggers, so nothing was triggering for me. This is just one of those books that is so incredibly heavy. So once again, check trigger warnings for this book, for all of these books. But this book was so dark and heavy, so I need to like talk to Michelle about everything and how we both feel so I can accurately describe my feelings. Because it was one of those where like you're not supposed to be comfortable with this book. The whole point of extreme horror is to make you uncomfortable and to make you angry and upset, and this book definitely did that, while at the same time being intriguing enough to keep reading. I read this book in like an entire day, just one day, basically one sitting, because I couldn't put it down because I needed to see where things would go. I also read the author's note, and I liked how he talked about it and where he heard about this case and how he felt while writing it and how it should be interpreted. So I liked that. I recommend reading the author's note after you read the book. I will say I specifically went to school to study cases like this. I got a degree in psychology and criminal justice with an emphasis in forensic psychology, where I studied criminals' minds and criminal cases. And this book, specifically the author's note, talks about the criminal mind and how it feels and what it looks like. And I went to school to study that, so I have read cases like this before. I have done studies on cases like this before, so this isn't anything new to me. So I've been around that. I literally studied for this. So this is a book that I am kind of not necessarily used to, but it's something I've seen before, and so reading a book of it doesn't necessarily bother me. Of course, it makes me angry, it makes me uncomfortable. I feel like that'll never go away, but this is something that I like want to, like, I don't know, study in my life. I don't know how to say that, but yeah, so I'm gonna give this 3 stars. I'm still between like if I should even rate it or not, but it's not something that I'm gonna return to, but it's definitely something that I'm gonna think about forever, because I'm like, this is the first book of its kind that I've read about, and this book was written so long ago, and the fact that it was written at that time was probably so taboo, like, I don't know. But yes, 3 stars for that one. I'm also debating if I should go ahead and pick up my next extreme horror book right away, or if I should read something like lighter in between. But I also am one of those people, I don't get like too bothered, but I don't know, we'll see. But the next book I'm gonna pick up is gonna be For the Sake of, so I'm interested to read that one. I'm hoping that it's like a fast-paced extreme horror, because I feel like this one was more slow-paced and then got like really fast-paced, so we'll see. I don't even know what it's about, but I will definitely let you know when I start reading it. Okay, I am here to update some of my thoughts on The Girl Next Door after talking to Michelle about it. I will be lowering my rating to a 2 stars because I realized some of the things I was kind of upset about or angry about how it went in the book. So we talked about how this book was written for shock value alone. Now that is not why I'm lowering my rating. I don't mind books that are written just for shock value, but I can completely understand why somebody wouldn't like a book because it was just shock value and that's it. One of the things that really irked me about this book is that certain characters got redemption arcs that did not deserve redemption at all. Like, the things you did could not be forgiven, so I don't understand why Jack Ketchum was trying to make us empathetic towards a certain person or persons. I'm trying to be vague about it so I don't spoil it, but a redemption arc was not possible in this situation, so I don't understand why the book went in that way. Also, going back to the author's note, there were some points in here, like I said, that I liked that he said that, but I don't think it came across in the book. Certain things that he talked about the victims, I don't think I read it that way in the book, so I don't understand why it couldn't be better shown if that's what he was trying to get across. But yeah, so I'm lowering this to a 2 star because I think there are better extreme horror books out there. I understand what this did for that subgenre. It was like the first of its kind, but I just think that there's something better out there for me, and that's why I'm lowering it. Also, the redemption arc thing was just not great. Why was that in there? I don't know. But yeah, if you haven't already, definitely go check out Michelle's video because she's reading 2 other books that I am not reading, so it'll be interesting to see what she thinks because I'm interested in those as well, and to hear some of her thoughts about The Girl Next Door. But it was nice talking about her with it because it definitely helped me expand my thoughts and what I really thought about it so I could sit down and actually converse with someone who also read it, especially because it is such a dark book. But yeah, so that's my update for now. Next book you will see is For the Sake of. Okay, I have a very tiny update for you right now because I am at home for my lunch break and I have to get back to work, but I wanted to go ahead and update you that this morning at work I started For the Sake of, and I have since finished it. So I will hold my thoughts until I'm able to like sit down and talk to you, but now going back to work I am going to start Night of the Prowler. So when I get home I will update you on all of my thoughts on For the Sake of, and we'll see how far I get into John Nathan's book. Alright, I am back from work, so let's have a chat about For the Sake of by Judith Sonnet. Like I said, I finished this earlier this morning, and this book follows a mother named Tabitha. She goes by Tabby, and her 6-year-old daughter has been missing for about 8 months. One day, Tabby gets a brown paper bag on her front porch, and in the bag is a cell phone as well as a Polaroid of her daughter with a severed head on her lap. So in this book, there is this thing called the game, and the game is where the kidnappers call the victim's loved one and say, you have to complete these 4 tasks, and if you don't, we will kill your loved one. Now these tasks are incredibly gruesome and gory and repulsive and horrifying and could not be me. Let me just tell you right now, I could not do that. I would not do that. I would refuse, and even if they were like, we're gonna kill your loved one if you don't, I'd be like, okay, because I'm not doing that. And I would not expect anyone to do those things for me either. Like, we should both die. I would rather us both die than go through anything that Tabitha did. Like, absolutely not. Like, and the opening scene of this book followed a different character, and the things she did for her cheating husband, no ma'am, could not be me. For anybody. I could not do those things. I will say this was a lot gorier than The Girl Next Door. I don't think it was as horrifying because The Girl Next Door was about a child and this one in particular was more adult focused, but it was so much fun to read. Is that weird to say? It was incredibly fast-paced and the stakes were so high, and it was also very thrilling because you know that there could either be a good outcome or a bad outcome at the end of this game. The scenes were interesting. These are some of the things that nobody should even have to think about, and let me tell you, my mind, I am very imaginative, so I could picture exactly how everything went down, and I think the gorier the better, and this did exactly that. So I had a great time. Once again, feels weird saying that, but I really had a great time with this. I gave it 4 stars, not quite a 5 because it's not like a new favorite or anything, but I did definitely enjoy it more than The Girl Next Door. And I will say this reminded me a lot of The Chain by Adrienne McKenty, because it's like a crime cycle where someone gets kidnapped and then you have to do something in order to get your loved one back, but this takes it to the extreme, hence the extreme horror. But yeah, 4 stars for this one. If you are into extreme horror or you're looking to get into it, be warned, I'm not recommending this book, but this is a good one to read. So moving on to the next book I started, Night of the Prowler by John Athan. I am now 27% of the way through, and this follows a man who is slashing. This is a slasher, and he's just going around killing people, and it's great. I recently, like within the last year, discovered I don't like slasher movies, but I love slasher books. This book reminds me a lot of Camp Slaughter by Sergio Gomez, but once again, to the extreme, because the violence in here, the gore in here, the descriptions of the scenes are just gruesome and gory. There's also kind of a main character in this book, and we are following her, and she is working overnight at a gas station alone, so you can only imagine what's gonna happen. And just like in Camp Slaughter, we get random killing scenes from random people along the way, so I can't wait to see how this all comes together. So far, I'm really enjoying it. Both of these books so far have been a lot better enjoyment-wise. Once again, enjoyment's such a weird term when it comes to extreme horror, but they're so much better than The Girl Next Door so far. But yeah, I don't know when I'll update you, if it'll be when I'm finished or halfway through, but I will see ya when I see ya. Alright people, it is like 8 p.m. the same day, and I just finished Night of the Prowler, and oh my goodness, I think this one was the most like gross to me. I found myself reading lines and just being like, ooh, ew, gross, gross, especially because there were like some eye scenes in here, and eye things are like the worst for me. Those really gross me out. Like, I can be completely fine reading anything else, but when it comes to the eye, I'm like, oh no, I can't do it. But this was definitely the grossest, and I had a great time reading it. I feel so weird every time I say that, but I really did have a great time reading it, and I don't think there's a sequel, but I am interested in a sequel. I really liked the character of Zoe. She was like an 18-year-old girl, and it was really interesting following her. I also just, this is random, love things set in gas stations, so that added to like the creep factor, especially because it was the middle of the night. I definitely enjoyed this, and if you are into extreme horror, once again, I don't recommend this book, but this is a good one to read. So that is the last book for this extreme horror reading vlog. I guess I'm gonna wrap it up now because I don't have many other thoughts to say, but my favorites was For the Sake of, and then Night of the Prowler, and then The Girl Next Door. I will say The Girl Next Door was the most, like, I don't know, it brought my mood down the most, I think, because it had no, like, purpose or excitement. It was just all darkness, whereas the other two were, like, fast-paced. Like, in Night of the Prowler, my heart was beating so fast, like, towards the end, because I was like, go, 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 Zoe. I was, like, cheering for her so hard. But yeah, the last 2 books were definitely my favorite of the 3, and I can't wait to read more of this genre in the future. But for right now, I am going to be picking up a romance because I just binged 3 extreme horror books in 2 days. So I'm gonna need some light fluffiness in there. But yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know if you have read any extreme horror, and if you have any recommendations that I should read, or not necessarily things you recommend, but things that are good, you know? But if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave the blood drop emoji. That's accurate right now. And thank you again to Hailey for giving me recommendations and letting me message you about certain things. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, all my social media links will be down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!